leg. So it's not in a cradle. You're making an audio presentation, because I think that applies to vehicles now too, which is passenger cars. Everything has to be one and done, and it has to be in the cradle. But anyway, they're out somewhere. I guess they must have had an away hockey game that was far away. I'll call them and talk to them tomorrow. Because I check in with my parents pretty much every weekend, but sometimes I skip, like if I'm doing the drinking thing or whatever. And, I'm close to them, we communicate, and I only live like 20 miles away from them, or 20 minutes. So, and I live like 10 minutes away from my sister. So we all live near each other, but we don't actually do a lot together. Which is a shame, because a lot of people don't do things with their family, and we all live really close, and we don't really do a whole lot. At least I don't, because I'm kind of like, I'm not the black sheep. I guess technically you could say that, but I've just always been the quiet guy in the corner, even when it comes to my family. I'm the guy who shows up, on Thanksgiving for 2 hours and then goes back home. I used to go to my nephew's hockey practices and hockey games and whatnot, but now that I'm working, a whole shit ton, I've stopped, and it just is what it is. I don't care, and that's fine. It's like, well, you should. No, I shouldn't. I don't have to. I don't want to. I'm not a part of my nephew's lives as much as I should be. Like this for Christmas, we'll probably go up to the cabin. Katie Boo, my folks own a cabin. Recently bought it. And they're also going to buy a condo that they're going to rent out, for money and stuff, and they can stay in it. I'm not sure how that works. I think it's people stay there and then they leave, so I don't think I'll have to talk to my dad more about it, and he might get more into that, have multiple properties and stuff. Just something, passive income to keep money coming in, because he's going to retire here pretty soon. Because he's a business owner, and he's one of these guys, he's not a workaholic, but I heard him say once, if he didn't have problems to solve every day, he wouldn't know what to do with himself. And I'm like, well, I know what I'd do with myself. I didn't say this, but it's like, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but just like that Taurus the Friendly Bullshitter, stuff where it's like about half of it is spot on and half of it is dead wrong. Like dead wrong. So yeah, a chip off the old block. Well, this chip was chipped off the old block, flew away, fell into a river, and floated halfway around the fucking world. But anyway, I guess so. He doesn't he's hesitant to give up, his business. Even though he's going to sell it, for a huge chunk of money, he wants to, he wants to immediately put it back to work for him. You know what I mean? So, and I'm the same way with that. It's like, if you hate this job so much, why don't you just quit and coast? Well, then I could, I have that gap on my record. I could just not, say that I never worked for that company. I don't know if there's a way for companies to find that out. I'm going to assume yes. So it's good to do things right, you know what I mean? Have a job, give your 2 weeks notice, and then, don't be an idiot, don't be a job jumper, a job hopper. When I first started driving trucks, I'd work a job for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, worked one job for 2.5 years. And, that kind of bites you in the ass, so, and now that I have the DUI thing and, I just want to do things smart. And I don't want to burn the bridge behind me as far as maybe going back to work for my company where I was running a loader, especially seeing as my boss knows my old boss, so I'm not going to leave him high and dry. Because believe me, I've thought about it. You know, just, you know, not showing up and just texting him and saying, you know, it's been real, I'm out, I'm not coming to work anymore. But that's not the right thing to do. And like I said, you know, I don't like seeing all that money, you know, thousands of dollars every month that are just obligatory monetary obligations. You know, I mean, I've got years of fuck you money. You know what I mean? But you know, that doesn't, no, that's not how that works. That reminds me, just the other day, I stopped by a gas station to top off some fuel, and there was like 3 people in there, and they were all cashing their paychecks. It was Friday, and their checks were like, for like anywhere ranging from like $900 to $1,100. So I don't know if that's 1 week's worth of pay. If it's 2 weeks worth of pay, that is extremely low. So I'm going to assume that's 1 week's worth of pay, you know. And I thought, shit, I didn't know gas stations cashed checks. So I am not stopping by that gas station anymore because apparently they have a shit ton of money laying around. So I don't want to, you know, I didn't know that. I learned something the other day. I thought gas stations like weren't worth it. I thought that was like petty criminals, you know, give me your money, you know, they run, you know, make off with, you know, a couple $100, you know, and now they're facing hard time for, you know, armed robbery. Shit, you know, so, yeah, fuck that. And then I walk up, you know, I'm in my brown, you know, bib coveralls and my, you know, reflective construction vesting is all, hey, amigo, do I look a Mexican? But, you're here to cash your paycheck? I didn't know that was a thing. No, it's in the bank. How does the other half live? You mean they eat with regular silverware? Anyway, let's see. I'm on a dirt road. I'm doing 50 miles an hour, which is really kind of pushing it. This vehicle's staying back, though. That's all right. Like, if they're right on, as a courtesy thing, if they're on my ass, I'll go ahead and just pull over, you know, and give them a wave, you know, just like, you know, so they know it's all good. You want to go fast? Let me get out of your way. But, anyway, what the hell was I talking about? I'm almost there. Man, I forgot what the fuck I was going to say. I'm going to go ahead and post this because the stuff that I said is so epic, but I'll go ahead on this road, seeing as it's paved, I'll bump it up to 55 because the houses are off the road, you know, by several, you know, thousands of feet. But he's staying back. He's keeping it at 50, which is odd. What the hell was I going to say? Out running errands. He turned off, so he probably figured. Which is odd. A lot of people are. This is one of those guys where it's like, oh, I'll just keep it the same speed. A little easier on the fuel, you know. I'm going to be turning off here. Usually I do 40 on the dirt roads. As soon as that guy was behind me, I bumped it up to 50. And I used to just pull over, but now I'm like, and plus I want to get over here and get back. But I don't. You know, my sister has a key to my house, but they're, you know, out and away, you know, doing their thing. Because, you know, they left Friday. It must have been a tournament. So, but they know that, you know, and I know that. And, you know, that's how that is, you know. Uncle Super Dude just likes to do his own thing, you know. Oh, and the cabin thing, so it's like this rustic thing, and we'll stay there. But it's not too far up in the mountains. It's in the mountains, but it's not like a 4-hour drive, you know what I mean? So, good deal, Lucille. So here I am. My mom has 3 Frenchies. God damn. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'll say it on the way back. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and post this, though, because all that other epic shit that I said. And I don't have a spare key, like, hidden at my house anywhere. I do have my alarm system, though. So I guess, in theory, I guess I could have a hide-a-key. But, you know, be smart about it. Don't hide it, you know, under the flower pot, you know, and all the obvious shit, you know. You know, bury it somewhere, you know. Have a, I don't know, you know what I mean? You know, put it in a, you know, a hide-a-key container. Maybe even put it, like, in a Ziploc bag. And then put it in some sort of container. You know, a hide-a-key's fine. And, yeah, you know, hide it somewhere. You know, hide it somewhere where you might need to, like, go get a ladder out of the shed, because I have a code to open the doors for my shed. I have a 60 by 40, you know, big metal shed with 4, you know, garage doors and 1 door to go into, which I keep locked and all that. So go get the ladder and blah, 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 and, you know, have it, you know, but then, you know, it'd be visible, you know, if it was stuck on a water gutter, not to mention you'd have to check it periodically to make sure it didn't fall due to the wind, rain, ice got on it and it got heavy and fell off or whatever. So just find a secure place that is not, like, obvious. And it's also something that, you know, like, don't hide it somewhere and then you need it and it's like, well, where'd it go? And it turns out it, like, sank into the earth or something stupid like that, you know what I mean? Just find a good place. So I'll do a part 2 here real quick. Don't you worry, Katie Boo.